Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the odd vlog, and we're just a few days away now from traveling off to Disneyland Paris. So a great opportunity as we're packing to give you my top 5 essential packing tips. And we're going to get straight into it with number 5. And it's a bit of an obvious one, which is why I've put it at the bottom of the list. But number 5 is obviously going to be your passport. You're never going to be able to get there without this. But I do have a bit of a pro tip as well, because in addition to this, and obviously euros for spending, I highly recommend getting something called a G-HIC. It used to be called an E-HIC, which was a European health insurance card. But since we've left the EU, that's now called a global health insurance card. So as well as your passports and obviously cash, definitely recommend getting a G-HIC. So basically you can go on to like the government website, it's completely free, and you just order a card, you put in the details, and it comes from the NHS. And basically what it means is that if you're away in France or various places in Europe and some other countries as well, and you need medical care, the NHS are effectively going to pay for your health cover and your medical bills. So really worth getting. So number 5, yeah, obviously a passport, but in addition to that, a G-HIC. And I've got another pro tip for that as well. When it comes to passports, I'm always a little bit kind of wary of leaving them in the hotel room. And obviously most of the hotel rooms do come with a safe, but I'm not exactly entirely convinced as to how secure they are, bearing in mind that hotel staff can access them if you kind of like forget the combination and that kind of thing. So something that we've used in the past is one of these. It's basically a belt, and it's kind of a multi-purpose belt. Something that I've often used for running as well, because these pockets are incredibly elasticated, so they can stretch out really, really wide. You can put money in these. Your passport will fit in them as well. So anything that's important in these, they're really, really stretchy. You can get super, super big things in there. It doesn't look like you can, but you definitely can. So my kind of pro tip, as well as not forgetting your passport and your G-HICs and your cash, is something like this as well. If you're not comfortable using the hotel safes, then definitely recommend getting one of these. I'm pretty sure this one came from Robert Dias. There's probably different variants that you can get of these, probably stuff that you can get from Amazon as well. It's not specifically like a money belt, but it kind of works in the same principle. So you can obviously keep that on your person. You don't have to worry, it's not going to fall off or anything. It's got a nice secure buckle that can go on there, and you can just like keep it under your hoodie or whatever, your jacket, your coat, and it's just really, really secure. So that's my pro tip. Number 4 on my list of essential packing tips. Again, it's a bit of an obvious one, but because we're dealing with Paris and Europe, we want some warm clothes. So I've got my nice big winter coat here, really, really warm, very waterproof, which is also important. And my one in particular has a lot of pockets as well. It's nothing expensive. This one I think just came from like Sainsbury's. But let's be honest, if you're going to Paris in the middle of winter like we are, it's basically March when we get there, then you're going to want to keep warm. So you definitely want some warm clothes, layers, definitely. We've been to Disneyland Paris before in like the beginning of January, beginning of March, those kinds of times. It's bitterly cold sometimes at Disneyland Paris. So warm clothes. And similarly, again, if you're going in the summer, a waterproof like jacket or a poncho, something like that, definitely worth getting. So clothing's really, really important. In Florida, it's a little bit more simple. It's like super hot, so you just need t-shirts and shorts. But in Paris, you need to be able to deal with quite a lot of different weather. You're likely to get some rain in there. You're likely to get some warmer days, but unfortunately, you're also going to get some colder days. So warm clothing, definitely essential packing tip number 4. So my essential packing tip number 3 is a little bit more of a personal one to me. Ever since I was a really little kid, I always used to suffer really badly with like travel sickness. And as I kind of then went on into like later life, that kind of turned into travel anxiety for me. So my definite number 3 on the list, and to be fair, for me personally, it'd probably be higher on the list, but I appreciate this is probably a bit more personal to me, would be a packet of sturgeon tablets. So these are basically travel sickness tablets. And anybody that suffers with travel sickness, you may already know about these, but I highly recommend them. Obviously, you need to go to a pharmacy to get these, but they are so worth it if you struggle with any kind of travel anxiety, travel sickness, or anything like that. Definitely get these. They basically stop you from feeling sick. That's how it works. You could arguably use them if you're really sensitive on roller coasters to like motion sickness. The same effect would work. It basically stops your brain from sending signals to your stomach so that it can't tell your stomach to feel sick. So it kind of just works really across the board. But particularly for me, and a lot of like young kids still suffer from like travel sickness as well. So any parents out there might want to have a look at these. You can get a child version of those tablets as well. I highly recommend them because they really work. They really do work. I've used them for years and they really help me. And they have the added bonus that whilst you're traveling, they actually make you pretty drowsy as well. So if you're like taking the Eurostar or in the back of a car or on the plane, you can pretty much just sleep the whole way there. They kind of knock you out. In some ways, that's not a good thing. Obviously, if you're driving, don't take them. But if you're just a passenger, it's fine. And then when you get to the other end, get some coffee, and then it'll kind of counteract all of that. So I highly recommend that. So really essential thing for me personally. And I'm sure other people will probably benefit from that if they are experiencing the same thing. So yeah, that's definitely a packing essential for me for sure. In addition to that, and along the same vein, is my iPod. Yes, I know I still use an iPod. Most people will probably just use their phone. But if you're sitting in the back of the car or you're on the Eurostar or on a plane, then obviously just listening to music just kind of helps. Well, for me, it helps me kind of like drift off and forget about the anxiety and everything else like that. So pass the time, but also good to kind of de-stress and relax a little bit. So iPod is definitely essential packing for me. So packing essential number 2 for me is definitely going to be camera equipment. So we've got my GoPro in here with all the bells and whistles. We've got the battery chargers, spare batteries. There's a tripod on there and all of the clips, the chargers, spare memory cards. So naturally, if you're vlogging stuff, camera is definitely essential, but I've also got a couple of other accessories as well as everything that's in here as well. Specific for a GoPro, I've got this tiny little kind of like travel case as well. So if the tripod is on the GoPro, it still works because it's got 2 zips, so you can zip the way around it and have the tripod kind of sticking out the bottom. But it's just like a really nice compact case for the camera to go into, so that, I mean, it's so small, you can just fit that in your pocket really easily, as opposed to the bigger case with everything else. You just need your camera, and it easily fits on here. You can shove it in your bag, and it's so small it could actually go in your pocket as well. So if you're using a GoPro, I highly recommend one of these too. In addition to that, we've also got the chest mount. This is something that I've actually not used before. So this trip to Disneyland Paris is going to be the first time that I start experimenting with this. And hoping to use it on, say, like Big Thunder Mountain, maybe like the Indiana Jones ride, and maybe a couple of other things. Just basically means that you can be hands-free and not have to worry about dropping the camera because it'll be securely fixed on here. I'm not 100% sure how successful this is going to be, because if it sits in the middle of your chest, you may, depending on where you are on the ride vehicle, just see the back of someone's head. I don't know. So this is a bit of an experiment, but if we're talking cameras and camera equipment, we're definitely taking this. As well as that, in this box, I just basically have a load of lens wipes and cleaners, so they're definitely going to have to come with us as well. There's also a microphone in here, but I can't show you that because I'm using it at the moment. It's basically down here. If there's going to be anything that I do kind of vlog style to camera, then a microphone's definitely going to make the sound quality just that little bit better. And as well as the kind of like accessories to the like more conventional camera, if you're using your camera phone, you could also get like a decent grip as well to maneuver it around the parks. So this is really good. I like this one because it's got the kind of like I call it the pistol grip. It's really comfortable and really ergonomic. It just means that you can basically, holding a camera like this, I've found for like an extended period of time, really starts to hurt your hands. It's just way more comfortable. With this particular one, this is all you can rotate that, so you can do portrait, landscape, whatever you want to do. So if you're wandering around the parks and you just want to film on a phone, I would recommend getting one of these. They shouldn't be counted as selfie sticks because they don't extend in any way. This doesn't come out or anything like that. So you should be okay with it. But we'll wait and see. I've used it in other places, but this is the first time I'm taking it to Disney, so hopefully we'll be okay with this. But yeah, it's just way more comfortable than just carrying a phone. For me personally, what I'm planning to do, I'll use the phone for stationary shots and then switch to the GoPro for anything that's in motion. Obviously, like roller coaster POV videos, I definitely want the GoPro for that. But if I'm just standing still watching, say, like a parade or a character or getting some nice shots of some scenery or whatever, I'll probably just rely on this if I'm doing it for an extended period of time, or otherwise I'll just take some quick shots with the camera phone. So The phone and all of its equipment, obviously it's essential packing for me because I'm going to be vlogging as much as I can, but even if you're not a vlogger, it's really nice to be able to get some decent footage to come back with, lots of pictures. So, you know, camera equipment generally, definitely number 2 on my list. And then finally, the number 1, the most important thing and my number 1 essential packing item is a comfortable pair of trainers. Now, this might seem obvious, but I cannot underestimate enough just how important it is to have comfortable shoes, because you are going to be in these for anything like 12, 14, maybe 16 hours a day on your feet, with the exception of when you're sitting down eating, and sometimes not even then. You really need to get some comfortable shoes. These are actually from Disneyland Paris, these ones. These are my Mickey shoes that I got from DLP the last time that we were there. Full disclosure, I'm not going to be wearing these around the park because they are not that comfortable. They're too flat for me and I need decent support. So I'll actually be wearing more like running trainers or Skechers, which are just way more comfortable. So that's why it's number 1, because you really, really do want to invest in some proper decent footwear. Otherwise your feet are just, well, your feet are going to ache either way, so you may as well just make sure that you kind of limiting the amount of damage that you're doing as much as you possibly can. By the time you get to the end of the day and you're standing there watching fireworks and your feet are killing you, you want decent comfortable shoes, preferably waterproof as well, especially at this time of year when it's cold. If your feet are going to get wet and it's raining, you definitely want some waterproof shoes. In the summer you might want to switch it up, and I'd probably go for more like running shoes because they're nice and breathable, so if it's hot you haven't got to worry too much. Get a decent bit of ventilation in there, and certainly if I was going to Walt Disney World I'd be wearing running trainers essentially to walk around the parks. They're just so much more comfortable, so much more breathable. So yeah, that is my number 1, is a good decent pair of comfortable shoes. So there you go, those are my top 5 essential packing items for Disneyland Paris, and now all I need to do is to get them all packed and away into a bag and start getting ready to go. So with that said, I'm going to start packing. I'll see you guys real soon. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll be in Disneyland Paris in a few days, and probably over the next few weeks I'll just be uploading video after video of all the footage that I will hopefully be capturing while we're there. So please subscribe, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you real soon.